We're live, we're live, we're live. What's up, everybody? We are here. Thank you guys for being here with us. We're gonna have some fun conversations tonight. We're gonna touch on some really cool topics. I'm excited to get this one started. It's YLTV.
Thank you.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, won't you get up and stop fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
That's right. It's Tuesday night, so you know what that means. Time for another wild and crazy conversation with the Young Lions. You're watching the Young Lion TV podcast, and we're here live at True Sound Studios in Camden, New Jersey, a.k.a. The Office, a.k.a. The Lion's Den. This is where we do it every week, and we'd like to get you guys involved. So if you're in the chat right now, and if you're watching this online on Facebook, and if it's on YouTube, we don't really know. But hopefully it is. Make sure you share this, like and subscribe, and share the video. Put it up on your pages so everybody knows that they can come check us out and they can see what's going on and join in on the conversation. We want to get questions from you guys, too. If we're talking about anything that's interesting to you that you want to chime in on, please just chime in on the chat. And, let us know if we sound crazy or if you agree with us. Either way, we like to debate about things like this. So we're going to talk about some real topics today. But first, we got to do the introductions. And, of course, to my immediate left is the half-black, half-Asian with the Spanish last name. He is Mr. Build Right himself, James Garcia.
What's up?
Yeah, and then we got my brother holding it down with the 20. Yo, you guys are twins today, bro.
Yeah.
Twinsing it.
Twinning.
Got the hat. Got
the 20th anniversary
Yeah.
Jatan shirt, which is available right now on Jatan.com, and you can get the merch there. We got my brother Jake Evans and my other brother from another mother, Simone Chang.
What up?
Yes.
And then last but not least, on the ones and twos, holding it down, doing all the research and all the links and typing. When you hear all that, that's Rachel Rota over there.
300 words a minute.
So I want to get into some of this stuff that I put up in the post that we were going to talk about. But first, me and Moan got some business to discuss.
What's up?
The Eagles had that win, baby.
Yeah, baby.
They got that road win. In Green Bay, baby. And the Cowboys lost. It's
Cowboys
a great
lost.
week in football.
Yes. Yo, that was a really good win. Did you know Aaron Rodgers never lost a game?
I saw that stat.
They
being
were
up by 10.
Being up by 10.
And being in Lambeau. That was his first time ever losing. Yeah.
I mean, even losing in Lambeau, he rarely ever loses.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they came in with a hurt D-back.
Yeah.
Everybody went down.
I know. It was crazy. It was looking bad for a second.
Yeah.
But they turned it around. It was good to see them pull that game out.
You know who held it down, though? I don't know if you noticed. Rodney McLeod.
Yeah,
bro.
dude.
He stopped like 3 touchdowns.
And Rasul Douglas was playing.
Yeah.
They helped us out. Because Darby, Sidney Jones.
Darby did he even play a snap?
No,
I know
he was
got
injured.
hurt. Yeah, he's
But I'm
done.
saying what he's been doing all season, though.
Terrible.
Sidney Jones, then Maddox goes out.
Mhm.
That was that
Scary.
looked bad.
Yeah,
that
it was
looked bad.
scary.
But yeah, they held it down. They got W at the end, 2-2 now.
You see all those Dallas memes? They're pretty funny.
Well, no, I didn't see them.
Just they always talk about
What, Dak being better than Carson?
No. They always go to the Brokeback Mountain. When they start playing some real teams.
Well, yeah. That's the thing.
And they played the Saints. They played the Saints
Without
without
Drew
Brees.
Yeah.
And they only put up 10 points.
Right.
So
That's the thing. But me and you have been saying that, before this game. We're like, yo, Dallas ain't played nobody yet.
yeah, they're lucky.
Because everyone's been crowning them.
Yeah.
You
want to crown them? Go ahead. Go ahead, crown them.
Yeah.
Rach, when you get a chance, put up the picture I just put up and the Young Lion team.
Oh.
Uh-oh. I want to see it. I'm excited.
He's probably got. It's probably some kind of joke.
It is.
Yeah, but you see, everyone was. Oh, yeah. Jake
Look
sent
at
me.
James.
Jake sent me this the other day. I'm like, who is that? Yo, he said it's me with no neck.
Yeah, it is.
Yo, I don't even know who that guy is. I just came across it on Facebook.
How?
Wow.
Dude, I was just looking through stuff. I don't know. Somehow somebody popped up. I'm like, who is this guy? Like
But you
on my
reckon-
page.
Yeah.
So when I looked at his pictures, I see him like, oh, Jamie, what's Jamie doing in the picture? But then I look closer.
Wow, that's funny. Yeah. So anyway, so off of football. So first,
Hold
thing I
on,
was- what?
time out.
Okay,
Before
never
we
mind.
move
Before we
off-
move on.
Yo, shout out to our manager's son, David Still.
Oh yeah.
For getting invited to the Senior
The
Bowl.
Senior Bowl.
That is huge, yo. Not a lot of people.
Dude, he's already got. Dave was telling me he's got the Colts looking at him. He's got the Browns looking at him.
Nice.
The Eagles, and it was one more team that he told me was looking at him, but I can't remember. But he's already got teams looking at him, man.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, that would be
Draft
crazy.
that kid, man. Draft that kid.
Yo, especially in that linebacker position, we can use him right now.
Yeah.
We can use him right now.
Yeah. We need some pass rush.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I didn't really know what that was. But
Yeah,
like, it
it's-
must be something good.
it is. This it's all the seniors from all the colleges, you know, that are prospects to make it to the NFL. That
Yeah.
you know they think they're gonna be something.
Right.
So they invite them to play this game. They go there. They practice
And then the
with
scouts get a real good look at them
yeah,
at the bowl.
yeah,
Yeah.
And not everybody get invited
Yeah.
to this, so that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Congrats, bro.
Yeah, congrats to
Yeah,
little
congrats.
David. We've known him since he was literally just a little kid.
Yeah.
Went to his midget games, and we even back then we were like, "Yo, he's got
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
He's got something. He's
He's so
always-
quiet too.
Yeah,
It's such
Total opposite from his little brother.
yeah." Jamir is like a shit talker constantly, but David has always, and that's the funny thing is like his demeanor. You would never know that when you watch him play, like watch the highlights. You would never know that that's him because he's so like,
Quiet and just-
soft spoken.
Even when he cracks jokes, it's always like, "That's why you wear that flower shirt."
Yeah.
Like, really, David?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, but
that's
yeah.
awesome though.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to David Still. Was he the third? David Still the third?
Third or fourth, I don't know.
Boy, some close
I don't know
family friend. This is.
Well, we don't know if he's the third or fourth, but I know
think he is a third.
because we know Dave. His
dad's name is Dave.
is
Dave's
David
the
Still,
junior, right?
and I don't know if Dave is junior though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? It might be a long line of Davids.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Shout out to them, and that's a big deal. I have a feeling he's going to get drafted and get drafted up high too. So
Yeah.
that's what's up, man. So couple weeks ago, well, let's talk about
Well, let's talk about Rosh Hashanah. You know,
okay, you want to talk about Rosh Hashanah?
I just want to say Happy New Year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Happy New Year. What year?
Nobody knows.
What year? Yeah, like what year is it in Rosh Hashanah? Years? What year is it?
5780.
5780. Okay.
Yeah.
Happy year
And-
5780 to all of our Jewish fam. Carter, what up, Carter?
What up, Fox?
Yeah, what up, Fox?
Not just Jewish, you know.
Still waiting for you to
Yeah.
come here, bruh.
Christian
well,
too.
Yeah, but Christians don't really,
They don't know.
they
but-
don't recognize it or know.
Yeah, but just
or
because you don't
understand.
recognize something don't mean it's not there.
Right. But they don't understand what you're saying. So
Yeah, so you got to teach them a little bit.
I feel you.
Anyway.
So yeah. Anyway, so but staying on that topic, then let's go to the Kanye West thing. So
Okay.
Kanye West has they've said that Kanye West has quit secular music
Denounced.
and he's gonna do gospel music from now on. I didn't really like go in depth with this. Kanye West quit secular music, says he'll make only gospel music, and I didn't.
Why
read-
is that picture of him with Trump?
Because, dude,
That's
they-
when.
That's
That's when.
Dude, that's how they got to tie it all together. It's like he's fully gone
he's
crazy,
crazy.
now.
Well, no, that's from Fox. So
Right.
They're trying to make it a good thing, I guess.
Okay, okay. Fox is
Well-
saying Kanye makes another great move in his life.
Just when I thought he couldn't get stupider.
Yeah, totally redeems himself.
What do you think about it?
Yeah, but what do I think about it?
Yeah.
I think that like all things, it's good and it's bad, right?
Okay.
Like there's the good side of it is that like Kanye West is clearly like in search of something.
Mm-hmm.
He's clearly a guy that's like battling with truths, and I feel like Kanye has always been like that. Even when you listen to his early music, his first album, when he did Jesus Walks, and when he did When It All Falls Down.
That's true. I didn't think of that. That's a
Yeah,
good
the
point.
subject
Yeah.
matter was there. Like he was talking about the struggle between like being famous and also trying to follow what he thought truth was. You know, struggling with the fact that he was obsessed with fashion, but knew that it was a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like when you listen to his lyrics from that time.
Right.
And I think, you know, after his mom died, he kind of went on a path where it was like he just kind of did whatever he wanted for a while.
Yeah. I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
Because I kind of did the
yeah,
same thing.
you kind of fell into that a little bit. Yeah. And then like you also went through that time where it was like, okay, I got to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
But for someone like him who has millions and millions of dollars and in the
Right.
spotlight and
Right.
married to a Kardashian, it's like that takes on a whole nother life.
Right,
When
right.
you're taking that, imagine,
Yeah.
you know,
If I had the money.
if you had the money during your conspiracy days.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? So it's
I'm
like,
getting monkeys for everybody.
so he puts on a Trump hat and
Yeah.
like, you know, goes down that road of like, because he's in his mind, he's being awakened to the fact that like, okay, a lot of black people are monolithic thinking, and he never wants to.
And
be
probably
that.
him too.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'm sure in a lot of ways and plus like the things that he's been exposed to, being around elites like Jay-Z and Beyonce and like the execs
circle,
that he's
yeah.
yeah.
He was definitely into some stuff because if you look at some of his, like, remember that Power video?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was-
Well, he's into spiritualism too.
Right.
He- maybe later in his life.
Wait, the Power video? I
Yeah.
don't remember. What was the symbology?
all
I know
that
the
power.
song, but I'm
it was
saying,
like the symbolism. It was just like a picture of him like on a throne, and it had like all this like God symbolism in it, and like even like Masonic symbolism in it.
the one I remember the most is "Run This Town," like the
Right.
symbology in that, and like the imagery in that.
And sometimes I don't think that those artists know that. I think they just think it looks cool because whoever is designing the set, whoever's the producer, will kind of steer them in that
Maybe.
direction. You know,
Maybe.
I think sometimes that's the case.
Yeah.
I
For,
think
for most
for most of them,
artists.
most
I
of
think
them.
I think Baby Gaga know what she doing.
Baby
Some
Gaga.
some do. At first, when I saw it, I was ready to condemn him
Yeah.
because I was like, man, please.
Yeah.
But I do like that point that you made just now about him. He does have a track record of this duality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And battling with that and trying to figure
Right.
out what truth is
Right.
and like, yeah, he's always
Although
struggled
I
with
wouldn't
that.
jump on and be like, he's on us. I wouldn't go that
Exactly.
far.
That's
You
what we
can't-
were talking
Yeah, we were
about.
talking
Right,
about that earlier.
right.
You can't totally be like,
Right.
yeah, he's one of us now. It's
Right.
like-
But that's when anybody who does that is not strong in their faith in the first place.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're not.
because they're looking to latch on to anyone
Right.
Right.
that
And he's wanting to do it his way because he's just showing up at a random. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He essentially is like, okay, I found this thing, and it's a resurgence, right, of his belief, right?
Right.
But then he's like showing up to church, and he's kind of like just doing songs,
Right.
So he kind of wants to do it. It's still attention seeking in some way,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you think about it, like, and this is what you're not gonna undo years and years of craziness that he's, especially on the level that he's been on,
right.
you know, and depravity that he's been in.
Unless he condemns it, unless he completely
No,
condemns it.
I've been watching some of his stuff. He definitely is trying to change. But my point is that all that subconscious
Yeah, all the trauma's still there.
stuff that he doesn't know and doesn't get, like, that's not just going to go
It's
away.
going to come with time and wisdom
Right.
and understanding of all of the things
Right.
that he's given himself over to.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
and then you and the other thing that he has to deal with is the people who are going to latch on
Right.
that are in that world just to try
Right.
to use him.
Because it's
you
an
know?
opportunity for them
Yeah. Mhm.
now in the gospel world as well,
Right.
to have some credibility given to whatever they're trying to do because now Kanye's involved. It's the same thing with the Trump thing.
Right.
When you saw him jump on that, like people that would never give Kanye the time of day were like, he's their best friend now.
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean?
Right.
And from the conservative side,
Yeah, that's what I'm
he
saying.
was an
Right.
idiot last week.
Yeah,
Now they're
right,
like, I understand
right,
that
right.
guy.
Yeah, exactly.
They both sides do it.
They do it.
You know.
they do it. It's all opportunity.
Just anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. But
But we have to judge him by his fruits, right? Because there's a parable in the Bible when the young rich man ran up to Jesus and said, "Hey,
Right.
what can I do to follow you?" And Jesus said, "Give up all your worldly possession
Right.
and come follow me." And he was like,
No.
He was
So-
like, "Can I keep the?"
so that's the way to judge it, is that if he truly gives up his worldly possessions and he condemns the things that he used to do,
Right.
and the lifestyle that he's pretty much adopted, then
Right.
you can see it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
yeah,
I mean, I have heard that in this album, he's done a lot of like talking about the demonic hold that's over Hollywood and the music industry, and like seeing it firsthand. So
Yeah.
there is some things that I think he's gonna be able to speak to and expose.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, it's about him. It's about him letting go of those things that he's latched
yeah.
on to.
Yeah, you
'Cause
can't
that's
talk
something
about it and
That's
it's still-
something
yeah.
that we all deal with, even
Yeah.
on our level. You know, as mere mortals, you know what I mean? Like trying to follow that path and be better Christians every day, or better followers of Jesus every day. It's like we are constantly learning about things that we do that we never realize. Like you're
Yeah.
constantly being delivered from those things. So imagine someone on that level where it's like you live a life that people can't even imagine.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know.
And I have heard him say, you know, I was putting so much into the cars and the fashion, and then I realized it didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So you get it, but again, there's a lot of things that are under the surface, and I think it's more about like somebody like him. He probably needs more prayer than anything else. You know what I mean? Like if his heart is to do it,
Definitely.
then he's going to go through it.
Right.
Right.
And he's going to deal with a lot of adversity that he's going to have to overcome, you know? And that's what we all, everybody has to go through that thing.
Nobody's exempt from that, no matter your status. But I think there's another thing that's happening here. I think after he did the whole, I mean, his mom's death is, I mean, my mom passed away, so I understand that. So there was probably inner turmoil there.
Mm-hmm.
But then I feel like when he made this announcement of Candace Owens, his love for appreciation
God.
for Candace Owens, and then Trump, I think a lot of people that he thought were friends turned their backs on him.
Right.
So I think it's more than Kanye wants to sing in the church. I think Kanye West sort of his audience turned their back on him. Then he saw the fashion world, all these endeavors that he's invested in, and I think, could you imagine, you know, Kanye West making that announcement, and then all of a sudden, colleagues are saying, "Man, how could you do this?" and turning their backs on him. So now
People that he's lauded and held
Right.
up on pedestals. You talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce, like you could tell when he did that rant on stage, he was truly hurt by the way he felt they were treating him. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's like
Right.
for someone to go through that,
Right.
and then like to the point where he had to get admitted into a psych ward basically because he had that breakdown. It's
Right.
like
Right.
it's almost like a rock bottom
Right.
situation.
And people worshipped him for a long time, then to come and make fun of him.
Right.
It's two different energies that's happening. You're getting attention, but one is praise and one is condemnation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he probably was like, well, you know, I'm going to go do this. You know,
Right.
I'm not
he
so
started,
sure.
I think he started to realize how fame and worship by the public is so fickle and unfulfilling at the end of the day, because you can lose it, you know, like that.
Right.
And so I think there's a huge opportunity for him to really push into truth and what really matters, and to be a huge tool in that way, you know,
Right.
for truth.
Right. He's got to be careful too that the environment, the churches and the pastors and the singers don't take advantage of him in this world.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
But see, I don't like. How do you be careful of that when you don't know? Like, I think it's more, again, like everything we're saying. It's the prayer is better than anything, because when we pray, you see what he's going to have to go through, and we pray to cover him so that he can get what he needs from God.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think one way, what I would say, if I was saying, I would say, look, any church or any leader that wants to kind of put you in the forefront, like say Kanye's coming to church and they put you on the banner,
Yeah.
or they put you as the this Sunday, Kanye, then you know that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he has to, like, if the church says, yeah, you can come, we're not making any announcements or nothing. But if they have to, like, no, we have to Twitter this and Instagram this, and we have to put a billboard out front, you're coming, then it's pretty much written right there.
They're
you know?
taking advantage.
Yeah, I think there was something with Justin Bieber even. where
There was.
He did like he sang at some church and nobody knew he was singing at the church, and he kind of like did it like he didn't want to be out there doing it. So.
Right. Right.
I don't know
I think these people
exactly,
are
but-
human beings, so they want to express themselves, but they don't want to be. They feel exploited. You know, they like the attention, but they know that they're being used, and certain churches would do that. Like T.I. just said in an interview he did with Killer Mike, he had gone to church, and Jamal Bryant was the pastor.
Mm-hmm.
The collection had already been done, and him and his family walked in, and they did. When they walked in, they did a second collection just because they're there.
Wow.
Isn't there a clip of that?
I think it's a clip of him. It's really long though. It's like him and Killer
okay.
Mike going into
Okay,
it. You know, Killer Mike is not really a.
Wasn't
Yeah,
there a clip
but-
of, or wasn't there a picture of him in the service?
Yes, in the church. Yes. So the
Yeah.
picture, he tweeted a picture saying, "I'll
Right.
tell you about this face later."
See if you can find that tweet, Ray.
But that was what it was about.
You know they passed the collections around like 3 times at those mega churches.
No, of course they do. But he was just saying they waited for they waited specifically.
Oh, they
for
was
that.
like, they saw him walking and they said,
we
"It's
gonna get
time
out."
for the collection day." But we just did it 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. But hey, listen. You know, I encourage his. I think he's trying. you know?
Yeah, I think so
Yeah,
too.
he's
And
on the path,
That's what matters.
Right. And he's essentially doing what most people are afraid to do, which is question the existence we're in and why we do the things we do.
Right.
And then he's pretty much become like the clown of clowns right now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so he sees that.
You know what's funny is like, it's almost like his wife is getting more respect than him right now because of, like we were talking about
Yeah.
before, the thing she's doing with the prison reform thing, and
Yeah.
getting, like a lot.
And
of,
no one has no idea that she's helped 19 men. You
Right.
know? I think it's
Right.
up to 19 now.
19 people. Some of them were women, but 19 people.
19 people, yeah.
Get out of jail.
And she's not talking about it.
Right.
Which, you know,
Yeah.
It's just and I watched her. She tweeted a picture of his song list from the album, and then like the caption was like "Have faith."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
So here's my question. Are we in a society right now where we condemn you no matter what?
Right.
Or we're not giving people any room for redemption?
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like where
Oh, there's the picture right there. So people were like saying like, why does he look?
Why
like
is he wearing a hoodie though? Like,
Dude, who knows? That's his look, man.
that's his church look.
you know what? All right,
What's wrong with wearing a hoodie,
He's
Jake?
wearing a hoodie, man.
in church or
See, that's the problem. That's
See,
the
see,
ideology.
see?
They got Trayvon Martin killed.
not even in church. If somebody's wearing a hoodie in my house, like yo, it's nice in here. Why are you wearing a hoodie?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take your hoodie off your head.
Oh, you
Kinda
mean
like
the hood on, the
disrespectful.
hood on the head?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
Why put the hood on your head?
Yes,
Right.
Yeah. I get that.
like unless he's just trying to hide from people.
He ain't hiding with that flashy family. You see how they dressed? You see how
Don't
they dress
mind
like
me.
they're going to an award show? Please. All right, so
But-
let's keep it. Let's keep it in the hip hop zone right now because there's another story recently that people have been talking about, and it speaks to a broader thing that we've had conversations about in the past. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit.
Yeah.
So recently, Fat Joe was on an interview with Hot 97, and he made a comment about how the Latin culture, Latinx culture, if you will, because you can't say Latino anymore, is sometimes more black than black people are, or sometimes more connected to African culture than black people are. I have a little clip of it up there on there, Rach, if you want to play, so I can don't take what he said out of context. And then we'll listen to what he said, and then we'll talk about it because it speaks to the, I want to get into the whole concept of like the N-word, like who's allowed to say it in rap music, you know what I mean, and the views on all of that.
All the music is African. Brazilian music,
All of it.
Dominican music, Spanish drums. All the music is African music. So, you getting on the Afro beat now. I've been in Africa. They've been doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? It ain't new. All the music is African. You know what I'm saying? But you right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even in Puerto Rico, when you go to Caribbean, like let's speak about Latinos not being black. Latinos are black. In Cuba at one time, there was 8 million Cubans. 5 million, unfortunately, were slaves. 3 million were actual Cubans. And they integrated and had babies. Same thing with Puerto Rico when you go to Loíza. And when you talk about Santeria, that came from the motherland, Africa. You know, sometimes Latinos might even identify themselves with African and black culture more than black people. This ain't no crazy thing. Fat Joe ain't on crack. He know what he talking about. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm telling you the truth.
So they wasn't feeling him pretty much. But so there was a little bit of backlash about that. You know, a lot of people in the comments were saying stuff like, "Oh, y'all only want to be black when it's convenient." You know, the whole thing like, "Oh, you want to pass to say the N word, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
You know, and then there was Latino people that were saying like jumping to his defense, and others that were saying like, "We're not black." You know what I mean? That whole debate. So I just wanted to get y'all opinion on that statement. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna let the two
We're all mixed.
partially Latino guys go first.
Well, I mean, I want to hear what y'all talk about because I and me and you talked about this before. We watched the documentary from Henry Louis Gates, which is a great documentary. If y'all have never seen it, you should check it out. It's called Black in Latin America, and it goes deep into like the history of the African slave trade and who went to like how many slaves went to which islands and you know like there was way more slaves in islands that came to America. Millions of people went. Even Mexico had millions of people were there, slaves, way more than in
Brazil had the most.
Yeah, Brazil had the most. And he goes there and he talks to people and speaks to them about how they identify. And I remember like in the Dominican Republic specifically because that border with Haiti, like a lot of them are like adamant about the fact that they're not black. You know, they're Spanish. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what Fat Joe is talking about does make sense in a way, but I feel like the conversation is a little diluted because even viewing Latino as a race is stupid to me because it's not a race. You know what I mean? Like that's a culture. You know, it's a culture that comes from slaves mixing with indigenous people with the Spanish culture, and then that creates Latin culture, which is what we know of, which is different in every island. It's not all the same. There's similarities, but you know, the fact saying that they're black or not black is not a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's. I think it's kind of stupid. But who cares? I don't know. But on a culture side, I get what he's saying. Like culturally, yeah. Because in America, it was kind of lost more.
Well, America was stripped from you.
Yeah.
The slaves weren't.
They weren't
able
allowed to hold on to
culture.
their religion and none of that.
So a lot of the stuff that he's speaking to is from a musical standpoint, talking about how like a lot of the Afro-Cuban rhythms, a lot of the things that we know of as music comes from the African culture.
Yeah.
So he was I think he was making a point to say that sometimes Latino people are more connected to African roots than black people are here. Yeah. Which
he's speaking more about music.
But you can't say a black thing. Like that's where you can't go.
Right.
But in terms of culturally, African,
right.
Man,
I get what
I'm with Jake, man. Like, who cares? The whole world is mixed.
Everyone cares.
The whole world
That's
is
the
mixed.
problem.
Everybody is mixed.
Well, it's not to me. Like, I get what he's trying to say, but it's a bit self-serving.
Yeah.
Because he's a hip hop artist.
Right.
If you talk to Mark Anthony, he's not going to feel the same way. You know what I mean?
But I think
So-
I think for someone like Fat Joe, it is more about the culture he grew up in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He's talking about Bronx.
The Bronx.
So
and-
because part of the thing is this: when people think black, they don't only think United States. They don't think the Caribbean. They don't think South America. They just think America because that's where all of the TV stars that were hip, like you know what I mean, like black Americans are really the ones that you see on TV.
Trevor Noah joked about that,
About
so how he never thought he was black,
because we in the Caribbean we identify with the Caribbean culture, whatever. Because we have it. We Trinidadians don't like Jamaicans. Jamaicans don't like Trinidad. We are busy hating each other. We don't. You know, we need to hate us.
It's the same thing with the Latin culture.
The same
Puerto Ricans
thing.
hate Dominicans,
But
hate
I think
Cubans
he's
and
off a
Colombians.
little bit here because he's trying to make it seem as though Latinos just love black people.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
No,
Well, I think-
no. That's not true.
That's why I'm saying, like, if you keep it culturally,
Right.
then it makes sense. And culturally, then yeah, Mark Anthony, he'd probably say the same thing that Fat Joe was saying.
Right.
But
I don't know about that.
no, culturally, yeah.
Yeah, culturally,
Because
the music.
he knows it, the salsa, all that,
music.
you know, it
Yeah.
comes from Africa.
Africa,
Right.
yeah.
But I wouldn't say more connected. I wouldn't say more connected. I think that's what he's trying to. I think he's coming from the point because number one, let's be honest, when you're a non-black artist, you have to defend wanting to say, and he's always said the N-word.
Always.
So you have to kind of like build a bridge to be like, look,
Latinos are black,
Right.
so we're allowed to say it.
right.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to build that bridge.
Yeah.
That is the other thing that I wanted to get into about it. Is like,
You got to have a receipt.
but should black people be offended by someone like Fat Joe using the N word, or like people that
No.
hip hop artists that grew up in the culture? Like he grew up in the Bronx around black people. That's his whole. We know people. Moan growing up with you. You know what I mean? We've all just said
Mode
it.
is a habitual line stepper.
Moan has always said it growing up, just because like the environment that we grew up in.
I
that's
don't really
just-
say it no more, but
But it's
No,
it's
but-
different. I'm saying
Right.
like we all don't like go around saying it. You know, all
Right.
crazy now. But I'm saying
Madness.
It's context.
we say it now joking, or we say it in like
Yeah,
context.
yeah.
Right.
But it's not something that we just say in conversation like we used to when we were younger
Right.
and dumb. But
Right.
Moan was right there with us. He was our
Yeah,
boy, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And there's a huge like blurring of the lines there.
Right.
That there's a conversation that is being had about that because
Right.
hip hop is becoming so global.
Right.
And people are talking about like who's allowed to say it. There's a bunch of Asian rappers now that are in the hoods, like Cambodia Town in LA. I was
Yeah.
watching a documentary about Cambodians in LA that are like that are Crips, grew up in gang culture. They say
Right.
nigga all the time, but
Right.
you know, there's a debate.
Right.
Are they allowed to, or are they
Right.
not? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think, but that debate is the dumbest
I
shit
agree.
ever because you're getting what you deserve. Like you should never have said. Like you're taking something that was offensive to you, and then you're taking it upon yourself. It's just like saying bitch. Like now
Right.
people say bitch all the time
Right.
to each other, and it means nothing.
Right.
You know, but it still means something. You know what I'm saying? Like it means nothing, but then it means something.
Right.
It means something when you want it to mean something.
If a man calls a woman a bitch,
Yeah.
then it's
Oh,
then
hell no.
So it's like,
Right.
But it's only, you know, if it's in an endearing way. But that's stupid.
but even if it's in an endearing way, I think like a man calling a woman a bitch still feels like crossing the line to a lot of women.
Unless
If
it's a
he's
gay man.
If he's gay,
Unless
he can
it's
do
a gay
it.
man.
Yeah.
Right.
If he's gay or trans,
The stipulations,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like you
Right.
can do it then.
Right.
It's
But that's
weird.
what I mean. In an
It's-
endearing way.
But
Right.
that's the
But-
nuance of like offense. It's
Right.
like you can pick and choose, and it becomes blurry, it becomes muddled because it's like how can we know all of these stipulations?
But see, that's why it's like it has to do with like restoring honor and order back to people.
yeah,
You know, and even restoring, and that has to do with words,
right.
and words having its actual meanings.
Well, let's
Yeah.
let's ask Moan his opinion because he's an Asian guy. Grew up in like South Philly,
The hood.
the Cambodian hood, you know, and then grew up around a lot of black Spanish kids in Williamstown, and it was just natural.
It
for
was
you.
just so. It was a slang.
Yeah.
That's what it was, and I used it.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
But you didn't use it right away. You kind of had to be around these people enough.
But I don't think anyone does, right?
yeah.
No, I think so. I think people check. I think a lot more people say it, but they will censor themselves based on the newness of it. If I just met you, I'm not gonna throw that out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think
I mean, when you're younger, I don't know if you're
Yeah.
conscious of that.
because we've been around black people that we didn't know
Yeah.
ever, and Moan would spit it out, and no one ever got offended. It was
Right.
never a thing.
Right.
It's almost like
But if a white guy did it, though,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
it only becomes offensive when you enter in social media and the the bubble of Twitter and this magnification of things where people can chime in about how, oh, look at this Asian guy appropriating culture. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
but
when we
in
were
real
kids-
life, people don't care.
When we were kids, our cousin Alex,
Yeah,
he he looks like a white guy.
he's half white.
Half white. Yeah.
But I'm saying he looks white. Like you're not. But yet he would do it on purpose.
Right.
Like just to be around.
And he would make it a point like, I'm the only white guy in Harlem that could say nigga. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just became something, and everybody
He
they just
had
accepted
pride in it. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and people, oh, but you're not really white.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And he would make it a point.
Right.
No, I am white.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just.
I think in New York, especially, it's more of a just a cultural slang.
That's
thing.
probably what I think it is. Fat Joe's talking about New York.
Mm-hmm.
He's not talking because you go to Puerto Rico and you ask Puerto Ricans, do you identify as black? Tito Trinidad would say no.
Yeah, Tino Trinidad.
You
would
know,
say-
so I think it's
clearly Sammy Sosa.
so
I've seen
there's
videos where
there's
you know,
dual worlds here. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? There's
Have you ever
dual-
seen that video of the Dominican guy, the old guy? I forgot where I saw it at. But
Right.
the guy was like, "You're
Wait.
black," and he's dark as heck. He's
Yeah.
like, no black, papi, no black, no black.
I Dominican.
I Dominican.
I Dominican,
I pani.
But
I bunny pop.
that's different though. I will say that there's a difference between Sammy Sosa and like who were you just talking about?
Cheeto Trinidad.
Yeah, Trinidad.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
That's Dominican Republic and it's Puerto Rico. And let me finish.
He knows too. He knows.
Gonna break it down.
It's
No, no, no.
Because Jake is the most Latino out of all of us.
No,
So
no.
he's gonna break it down.
Let me
For
finish.
those who don't know, Jake used to dance
Jake used
salsa
to be in
in
the
the.
salsa group. And
Right.
What was the group called?
I don't remember.
Grupo
Grupo
Ilusión.
Ilusión.
Grupo
right.
Ilusión.
This is
Coming
my
to the stage.
This is my point. Can I make my point? My point is, yeah, they don't consider. They wouldn't say like black because black represents like American black,
Right.
but
African?
No, and black represents lower class.
if you say like negro, or if you say yeah, they're gonna associate with that. They have no problem with that. Like if you say it that way,
You gotta watch that documentary, dude. Because
Puerto
they
Ricans.
do have a problem.
Yeah,
with
they
it,
do have-
and they
yeah.
don't want to.
what? Wait.
Puerto Rico?
Wait. Puerto Ricans.
In Latin America,
Latin
Germany.
America, he went all over.
Well,
I gotta
most of the
write down.
people that I've known,
Yeah.
they have no problem with it. Now, I will say on the Dominican side, there's a literal programming over there with a lot of them to make them think that they come from Spain.
Nah,
Right.
Puerto Ricans too, man.
No,
Puerto Ricans
that's-
too.
It's different. It might be in some Puerto Rican. I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is in the DR, it's literally.
Oh yeah,
no,
because
the
they're
DR
the ones
the
that's
DR
they're-
is definitely-
no, because they're more visibly black.
And they're
No,
bordered,
no,
they're bordered
no.
with Haiti.
Right.
No.
So it's like
My point is-
that division with Haiti. There's a literal like we don't like mixing with them. They don't, you know.
No, but what I'm saying is there is literally,
Literally.
literally, in their schooling, like there was a guy who came in, I think it was like in the 40s or maybe the 50s, who like
Fact check.
changed stuff and just started
I'm sure.
putting it in
Yeah.
the schools that
In the
this is
curriculum.
where you come from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a
You know black
programming
puppy.
that
You know
I know
puppy.
black.
Yeah,
I know
it was
black
a
people.
programming
No,
that started
I-
to happen in the culture.
I agree with that.
Whereas in Puerto Rico, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Like that programming isn't there, so
Right.
it's not as prevalent. Now it can be there, but I'm saying in DR, it's literally
Oh no,
that way.
listen. There's definitely certain degrees. There's certain how hot the oatmeal is.
Yeah, right,
There's
right,
degrees.
right.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
but
too.
I know for a fact that in the Latino culture, nobody wants to be attached to black unless they're a famous baseball player, and even still, you know what I mean.
Sammy Sosa.
Even
Yeah.
still, they don't want to be attached to that. They
Right.
don't because in Trinidad is very close to Venezuela, right? And there's a little bit of mingling there. People hold on to these Spanish last names
Right.
as it's gold. We can't even speak the language, but we hold on to the last name. My last name is Garcia. No, when I started realizing that there's very little Spanish in me, but the name Garcia, people held pride in that. You know what I mean? These Latin names, Ferdinand and
Well, that's why I literally always point that out when I introduce you, because it's like it's such a weird identifying thing. But it's like
Right.
it's pointless but it's such a like thing that people care about.
Right.
You know
No,
what I
I'm
mean?
showing.
for no
I'm,
reason.
I'm showing you how much people don't want to be black or
Right,
Indian.
right.
That they worship the name Garcia. They're
Right.
like, you're Garcia? Oh man, you're the king of Spain.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm telling you, it's that thing. It's that thing where colorism and that kind of stuff doesn't matter because it was a product of colonialism.
Yeah.
And that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
You know?
but
I think Fat Joe's talking about the Bronx is what I'm trying to say.
I don't think
he's talking
so.
I don't
hip-hop
think so.
culture.
I don't
I think
think he is.
I think
Yeah.
he's more talking about music.
Well, that's what I mean.
Like
He's talking
how-
about that.
No,
the,
he's talking about
He's talking about culture.
He's talking about
You-
culture, period, because he talks about Santeria. He talks about like just the African, like they. If you watch the whole interview, they talk about Yoruba and how that all got integrated into the island's teachings, and they had
Okay,
to change.
so-
They had to change the gods to turn them into saints to make
Yeah.
so that people wouldn't know that they were worshiping their gods. You know what I mean? Like
And
they
not
go into
only-
all
So
of that.
yeah, so the slave trade, you know, in the islands or whatever like that,
Right.
they were able to, you know, keep their culture. Slavery in the U.S. That's probably what he's talking about. They lost all of their culture. So maybe he's trying
Yeah.
to say that,
he's saying
I
they
think-
have
but
more
he
of their
said it in
culture.
the.
He's saying it in a way where it's like because he's got backlash before for saying the N word. He's got backlash before for trying to identify as too black. You know what I mean? So he's trying.
But he's
trying to
part
make that.
black though. So where does that line?
That's stupid.
Where-
I think he's trying to make that connection where it's like, yo, y'all don't understand the history of what Latino islands are to say that we're not black. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which
Yeah.
he's making
All right.
sense in a way, but and
To
also
me that-
in other
let
ways.
me say this. He's a bullshit artist because
Of course,
He's a stand-up
he's Fat
philosopher.
Joe.
yeah. So, but he's bad at it. So he's trying to connect the two, obviously,
Right.
but you can't connect them because it's two different cultures.
Yeah,
right. It's two
Well,
different cultures.
I mean, it's many different cultures. Even if you want to talk about, like you said, the Bronx Latin culture and black culture, like those
Yeah.
are very intermingled.
Intertwined, yeah.
right.
And then you want to talk about the LA Mexican
South,
and black
yeah.
culture. That's not the same.
No,
You know what
no.
I mean? So
Right.
it's like,
But that's my point. Like, you can't act like it's the same thing. Like,
Right.
I get what he's saying, but dude, that has nothing to do with why you say nigga.
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
those are two separate things.
Well, he didn't say that in the video, to be fair.
Okay.
I'm asserting that I think that's where this connecting thing is trying, just from the past of him, like he was talking about, because he was talking about his album and how he sampled who's the singer from the Cantante movie, the famous guy
Cantante.
they used to sing about voodoo all the time.
The boy?
Yes. So
Hector
he's
Lavoie?
Yeah. So in
I
his
wouldn't know.
his new song that he just released, he sampled Hector Lavoie.
Okay.
So he was talking about, how him using that, and they had to pay homage to the African culture in the music video. And then
What was the sample of what's
I don't know. I have no idea. They didn't play it. I don't
Right.
know. But then Ebro starts going in because Ebro is which
Corny.
is hilarious to
Ebro
me because
is annoying.
he's half Jewish.
Right.
But he's so
Yeah.
Right.
Black.
But he was going in about like how backlash and like just using the culture or something like that. And Fat Joe was trying to say this is why I'm not. You know what I mean?
cultural appropriation.
Right.
All that
So he
stuff.
was saying that he's paying homage to the African culture and then showing how like Latino culture
Right.
always is more connected. He was trying to say that it's more
Right.
connected to Africa than even black people are.
I think he went wrong. He should have said,
That's where he
I,
went wrong.
I
Yeah.
feel like this.
Right.
But he's trying to say, oh, this is how it is in Puerto Rico.
Right, right.
And that's where it's like,
No, but it is. Like,
It is in
Like,
roots,
wait,
the
wait,
roots
wait.
of it, but the way
Yeah.
they look at it,
right. But my point is, like, it's still embedded
Right.
in their culture.
yeah, it's part of the culture.
It's embedded in the culture.
but they see themselves as something separate.
Yes.
yeah, but it's still embedded in the culture.
Of course.
So,
yeah, but we're looking at you choose what you want to be identified as. He is saying, look, this is how I feel. But he's kind of almost like trying to speak for the community.
Right.
And I think that's where he's going wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I'm listening. This is all stupid. Like we're talking about.
No,
it's all stupid.
No,
'cause
but
it
it's all
don't-
valid though. It's all it's all important for people to understand and wrap their brains around.
What I'm trying to say is that like there's stuff that is good from culture and there's stuff that's bad from culture.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's not all good and it's not all bad. And if you don't pay attention to that, and if you just idolize it, you're gonna fall for the bad and the good. You know what I mean? And that's the problem in
I think
any
that's
culture.
what people do all the time, though. Like,
Yeah.
people latch onto a culture and everything that comes with it, and just think that it's all good because it all comes from my culture.
Right.
They don't let go of the things
Right.
that
That's
they
what-
should have
right.
let go.
My
of.
point is, in the whole cultural appropriation thing, like, and even like trying to use a culture, like, what? That's so stupid. Like, even if he just doesn't talk about that and just grew up in the Bronx, and even if he just says nigga because he grew up in that, like, okay, so what? That's what he grew up in.
Right.
That's what he knows.
Right.
Like, I don't think you stay there, in my opinion. I think you have to learn and grow. You know what I mean? But that's what he knows.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you gonna? You can't say anything about that.
No, and then he should. That's what I'm saying. He should say me, but he's trying to attach Latino culture to that.
Yeah.
If he said, "Look, this is what I've experienced. This is what I've seen," then he could. But he's trying to say
He's trying to pull all the
Right.
he's trying to
all the Latinos.
He's trying to say we just have this love and appreciation. Like,
For-
no,
for
you
Africa,
don't.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
like that's what I think he's.
There's
making
things
a
that are
mistake.
there inherently in the culture because they've been
Right.
passed down through generations.
And I think
Yeah.
for a lot of black artists, black people in America, who a lot of the musical forms came from like really popularized in this country. Whenever we have somebody who's non-black doing something, you're gonna wonder: are they a culture vulture? Are they
Right.
just doing it for, you know what I mean?
Right, like an Iggy Azalea.
Yeah. Are you
example.
because
Yeah.
So you're gonna question that because you're gonna, you know what I mean? It's natural to.
Right.
Yeah,
you know?
but who cares?
Well, you have to
That's
care
it,
once.
that's the thing. Like, people care.
You're
know
gonna
what I mean?
control everything. Like, you can't control that.
No, you can't control it, but he's part of the culture. So when people question him, he's trying to explain authenticity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like,
Or he could just ignore it and just say, "Who cares?" You
Yeah.
know?
my thing is like is that like this is America. If you want to come in and take something and use it, then
And that's good.
it has a right. To
That's
do
good.
it.
That's good. But then
Yeah.
she has to. Then we have the right to criticize her too.
Right.
And it's like she
Yeah.
she has the right to say whatever she wants, but she has to say, okay, well then the public has the right to reject or accept. Who you
Right.
know?
And,
Yeah.
She has
and
to
if
take
the
it.
public sees you as someone who's inauthentic, then you got to eat that.
You
know?
can't be like, well, this is I want to put on
Right.
my black.
But she's
you know?
still making money, and that's the way they see it.
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore, but she's made
She,
enough.
she did at the time before people started like, wait a minute,
Right.
she's stealing raps
She's-
from
yeah.
people. She's
Right.
like, you know
Not
what
to
I mean?
say that that's a good thing,
Right.
like
Right.
ultimately, but what I'm saying is that like in her mind, like
Okay, so let me pose this question. So, Fat Joe has been like pretty much trying to make his case for why he used the N word, and like, you know, it's not a big deal, and people have been debating about this. But then, if he grew up in the Bronx, he grew up around that, saying it, and hip hop culture, all of that is just part of his DNA because he grew up in that. Him, you know, Big Pun was the same way, Cuban Links, all these dudes, right? And we know a bunch of people from New York, our family, the same way. Our family say it all the time, and they're
Yeah.
half Spanish and Puerto Rican.
yeah.
So why then is it different for Asians?
who grew up in the same type
Yeah.
of culture.
Yeah. Why is it then?
It's not.
Okay,
In
so
my
in
your
our
opinion.
opinion.
Okay. I'm just that's
In
what I'm
my
getting at because
opinion,
a
it's
lot of people
not.
think it is. Like Ebro, I remember
well-
the same thing.
It's
that documentary I was
culturally-
watching. Ebro, they interviewed Ebro about like this surgence of Asian rappers and he was like, it's not cool for an Asian person to use
Hold
the
up.
N-word. I don't care where they grew up. I don't care who
Is
gave them a
it
pass
is it
on
genuine?
Yeah, I mean,
If
it
it's-
the dude. You ever see the dude, Rich Chigga from Indonesia? You ever see that, Rich Chigga
Yeah.
No.
from Indonesia?
He's a clown.
See if you can find this, Rachel.
Right.
So
There's this-
That's a culture vulture.
now that right
You're
there.
so judgy, James.
With what?
Wait till you see.
He's a clown.
Wait till you see.
He's a clown.
Wait till
Wait till you see it. He ain't
so
no different
Rich
than Lil
Chigga-
Wayne.
Rich Chigga is an Indonesian.
You can tell if somebody's
He's an
genuine or not.
Indonesian kid, but I think he's Chinese. But he's from Indonesia.
Wait, I think I know what you're talking
And
about.
he did, like
a
this
trap,
viral
the
trap
trap
video
Oh
that
yeah,
came out a couple years ago, and it went viral.
totally.
But it's like straight up like him just pretending to be a street dude from. But he's not dressed like a street dude.
And
He's
he
dressed
used-
like a corny Asian guy.
He uses the N word.
He used the N word. His name was Rich Chigga, which stands for Rich Chinese Nigga. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So after a bunch of backlash from that, he changed his name to Rich Brian, I think it was.
Rich Brian.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But
and there was also the Canadian girl who was acting like a little ghetto chick.
Who was that?
She was half Asian, half white. And her mom was. She was like.
yeah. Oh, she went viral on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah, because she was
so-
like throwing money at
But
people.
there's
and
people
stuff.
watching this.
Yeah.
You know
But
what
I
mean?
think they're
And
watching it.
you're
for other
allowed to.
reasons.
You're allowed to act however you want to, but you can't say. You can't then tell people how to react to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You
Right.
could say whatever you want, but you can't control how people interpret what you're saying.
Right.
You're right.
Oh, here we go.
Fuck about a rule. Either get the problems of a tool. I'm cool with my youngest no boo. When I spring in this cage, you fuckers fuck a gang affiliated with nothing but my name.
Oh my goodness.
Give a fuck about mother.
All right. Okay.
But you see what I'm saying?
So, yeah, you can't.
So the difference, what the point of bringing that up is the difference between him and then like the Chinese dude from New York, I forget, who like grew up in the streets and he'd been in prison multiple times and
Yeah.
he says nigga in his raps too.
Right.
I
That
mean,
quantifies you saying.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just put. It's all wrong.
Right.
Like it's
Yeah.
all wrong. But
Absolutely.
But this guy, yeah, I get it because he doesn't get it because that's what he grew up in. You know what I mean? And he's being more genuine, maybe.
Right.
And this other guy might be faking it more. You know what I mean?
Just pretending to
and it's
play a role.
right.
Right.
I mean, but if you stay. Like if you build up a pride in that you're genuine, that like what are we
But
even
it's not
talking
genuine
about?
though. They're just doing a caricature. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's genuine in terms of like
If
that
you-
might be what
that's
he
a character.
that might
if
be
you-
what he
that-
knows.
that
But
is-
if you
he's
grew
talking
up-
about a guy the
If
kid
you
who grew up in
around that,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're still being genuine, I think.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
If I stayed where I was at when I was 16.
yeah.
But I don't
mean,
think-
you probably would have been. We talked about Pise. We talked to Pise about this too. Like you guys probably would have been mixed in with the gang culture. In
Oh,
Philly.
definitely.
You know what I mean? Because of where
Definitely.
y'all were at, and you
Right.
probably have a different life right now.
Yep.
You
What
know?
I'm saying is, I feel like we have to define something here. Is it him being who he really is, or him adapting to his culture because his mom don't act like that, or his dad, or his brothers? So you're assimilating to you're falling for the weakest link, basically. So you're trying to fit in. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
So
that's-
you're
I
trying
mean,
to
that's what-
survive
that's what
in
culture
the.
is.
In
Yes,
the
yeah.
That's
you're
what
trying to survive.
Culture is just people trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
that's what becomes
It's-
culture.
Right.
Culture-
So it's not authentic to you, is what I'm trying to say.
But it is though.
I
It
mean,
is.
I wouldn't say it's all trying to fit in, but it is mostly trying to. I would say even trying to survive.
Right.
Like it's a survival.
It's still. I think
I
it's
think you have to
still-
make a choice because
it's still authentic to you. though.
I'm like, for me, when I came to the United States, I don't know hip hop.
Right.
I don't know nothing about this stuff.
Right.
I never was like, where's my starter kit?
Right.
Yeah,
I gotta
but
blend in.
There's
Right.
a difference. You didn't grow up in the hood. You weren't born over here. Like there's
No, but I still had a choice. I could have chose to be like, I still could have been like, you know what?
But
I can,
no,
But the fact that y'all came to the States and went to first Howell,
Voorhees.
New Jersey, and then Voorhees, New
Voorhees.
Jersey, is
Yeah.
different.
Well, that was there.
But
It was there.
It was
It's not the
there.
same.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's not the same.
Howell is not the same
It's
as
not the-
South Philly.
No, not at
it's
all.
It's not the same as where most Trinidadians end up, which is in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You would probably be
Yeah.
a drug dealer right now. Like seriously,
Yeah.
bro.
One dread. No, I feel like people try to fit in, and they, you know what I mean? It's
No,
like-
I think that's part of it, but also it's
I agree
also,
with Jake. I'm sorry to cut you
Go
off,
ahead.
but I agree with Jake with the trying to survive thing. Because
Yeah.
when you are living in I grew up in South Philly. You're living in the hood. There's gangs there,
Right.
and you get into trouble if you're hanging out with the wrong people, and so you insert yourself in a certain group, and then that becomes your culture.
Right.
so you feel safe.
Yeah, you
Right.
feel safe. So it's
and
like
you're trying to prove to them that you're one of them. So
Right.
you adopt you adopt the way. I get that. But I'm just saying that I feel like sometimes people try to make that to say, okay, I'm part of the culture, but you're really scared and you're trying to fit in.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
But isn't everybody
It isn't
in that
authentic.
culture fitting in? Like the whole freaking culture is based off of fitting in.
But I don't think
You know what I mean?
it's,
In
all, it's
hip-hop.
not all fitting in though. Like you can look
Like,
at it that
not all
way,
of it, but
it's
the majority of it.
But a lot of it is also just you being shaped by your environment. Like I was listening to Andrew Schultz was talking about this.
Right.
He was talking about how when he travels, white girls like in other parts of the country will say, "Why you talk black?" You know what I'm saying? Why do you? And he's like, "What are you talking about? Talk black?" It's because they don't get that he grew up in New York,
Right,
And
right.
and that's just how they talk in New York,
Right.
But to them, that sounds black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you would think that that's him trying to fit in
Right.
and be black, but it's
Right.
no. It's just that's just him being shaped by the environment that he
Yeah,
grew up
and
in.
then black people in New York don't think he talks black.
Exactly.
And people have said that to me too. I had all black friends. You guys were my friends.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you sound so black.
yeah.
Right.
Why do you sound so black?
Right.
I was like, I don't know.
Asian girls.
Yeah, that's why none of the Asians wanted to hang out with me.
Asian people rejected Moon all his
That
life.
and Moan is dark too, so there's that.
Well,
you know what
there's-
I mean?
but other Cambodians are dark. You know.
But in the Asian community, that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Moan is considered dark for an Asian. You know what I mean? So you could see that. You know what I mean? Where
He's not. What was that commercial we saw?
Fair and Handsome?
Fair and handsome. He's not fair and handsome.
where
Can we play fair and handsome?
where I do think that there is colorism and there is those issues that people are so they try to blend in. And I did it too. Listen, I didn't do it in high school. I did it on the music scene with the Latinos.
Right.
But it, you know,
Brother, you had the white pants on.
white
Yeah.
pants with the silk shirts.
Yeah, and I get that, but I'm saying that there still has to be a time when you have to be like, this ain't me.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
You
I
know.
think so too. But I think for someone like Fat Joe, when like
That's his
your-
career?
your entire life
Yeah.
has been
Right.
shaped by that.
Now
that's a
he's
lot
trying to
for him get
justify.
to a point where it's
yeah.
like that's not me. He's
Yeah.
no, this is me.
I
And
mean,
I'm gonna prove to
yeah,
you why. You
and,
know?
or you have to go through a crazy transition, or you have to come to a moment where you get hit,
Right.
You get slapped in the face with something.
And I think for people in New York, it's even harder to come to that place because there's such a pride in it, especially growing up in New York. Like they have such pride
Right.
in, like you hear, like every time we've done shows in New York, what do? They shout out the boroughs.
Oh, yeah.
and everyone screams for their borough.
That's a cultural thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
But I do have another question though. To me, when I listened to part of the interview, not here, but when I saw it on my feed, and it really says this: Fat Joe isn't really that talented if he wants to hang on to like, you know what I mean? Like your talent is limited if your idea of authenticity is to be able to say nigga at will. If that's all you have to offer and you haven't grown and you're a 40-something-year-old man and that's what you want to hang on to, you want to be like, I'm still hood, you know what I mean?
I think his mentality is totally different than that. His mentality is, I need to be hot now. I need to be what's current. Because he
Right.
says that in the interview. If
Right,
you watch the
okay.
interview, he's like,
But then
I'm the only one who still can think about any other person that's been in the game 20 years that could put out a hit right now. Like, you
No.
know, he's like, I'm current. I'm with the 18-year-olds. Like, he's still in that mentality.
Right.
and that's where he drives from.
Right.
That's where he gets his
So in
motivation
his mind,
from.
that's something to be
Yeah,
proud
this
of.
is just- yeah.
It isn't about growth. It's about doing what the young kids
Yeah,
are doing,
because-
just like them, and not falling off. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Because you can't tell him nothing,
Right.
as Kanye West has said. You know what I mean? You can't tell him nothing because of the money he's made.
Right. Okay. So enough on that topic. So I want to get to dating. Okay, and I want to get to this article that I saw. What? No, you made a little face.
Didn't make a face.
You did.
You made a face.
I didn't make a face.
So I want to get to this article that I saw, and I want to get on this topic of like the current mentality of dating and like the roles of dating and just like relationships and what's important about relationships, because I've been seeing these articles lately. We kind of touched on it at the end of a podcast a couple of weeks ago, but we really didn't go into it. And I saw another article the other day that was about the same thing. Maybe you could pull it up, Rachel. It's on there. The article about, she's on it. Women are struggling to find men who make as much money as they do. Okay. And it's this whole article that goes into these women who are having trouble dating. Look, the other article's referenced right in it too. they're having trouble dating because
I thought it was a patriarchy.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like the idea of feminism has kind of created this environment where women want to be independent, but also want to have a man that makes more money than them. So a lot of these women. This is the other article here. This headline is hilarious to me. Broke men are hurting America's women's marriage prospects. So it's like,
which is kind of contradicting because you would think that that's what they would want.
So instead of saying like, why are men not making money? Why are men like struggling to make money? It's like, this has become a problem for women because they can't find husbands.
Right.
Now, you know.
But then you have to ask the question: well, there's pay inequality, right?
Right.
How does this add up?
How does that factor into the equation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who are these broke guys?
So it immediately made me think of a few years ago. I don't know if you guys ever saw this. There was a Craigslist post by this woman who was talking about how she is a beautiful woman, and here it is right here. She says, I'll marry you only if you make $500,000. And she literally puts this Craigslist post up.
I remember that.
I remember
You
this.
remember that? And a dude who works for Deutsche Bank responded and was like, this is why your logic is flawed, because beauty is a depreciating asset. So he's like, you trying to trade that for my income doesn't make any sense, because my income is going to appreciate, your beauty is going to depreciate. So at best, you're looking at a trade-off. So what you're asking men to do is date you and then get out once your beauty fades. Like you're basically setting yourself up for failure with that mentality. So, but women don't. Women, I think this is where women are getting in their own way when they're like. First off, the first concept of like women,
these type of women.
These type of women.
Yeah,
But a lot of women
Not-
nowadays are getting in their own way. When you look at the amount of single women in their 30s now, because that's what that first article was all about. These women are all in their 30s, and they're all struggling to find dates. People that they consider acceptable dates.
Right.
Because they want someone who makes more money than them. A lot of them are like nurses.
They're not struggling. They're struggling to find men in that criterion.
Exactly.
Right.
Because a lot of them are like nurses or have degrees or went to school, have student loans, so they need someone that's going to give them stability. You know what I mean? But when you spend your most valuable years, which is in your 20s as a woman, when you spend all of those years focusing on, just having fun, getting your career, being independent, and then you get into your 30s and you expect a man to come in that is in your same age bracket to then want to date you, what you've done is you've aged out your dating window, because the guys in your age bracket who are in the same position as you, now they're checking for girls, at least 6-7 years younger than you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's
And a lot of those women forget what they did.
Right.
When they were 25, they were dating the 35-year-old
Right.
and the 40-year-olds.
Right.
And then when they're now 35, they're looking for a guy 38.
right.
Or in his early 40s.
But also makes
But also make more than them.
$500K, you know what I
So
mean?
and they don't realize that the guy who's 38 and 45 is looking for the 26-year-old.
Right.
Because you were once the 26-year-old dating. They don't understand that that's a hamster wheel.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're not placing value on the thing that's important, which
Yeah.
is morals, values, standards, belief, all of those things that really builds a relationship instead of the money. The money is first and your status. Because I remember in high school, the girls my age were dating men in their 20s, 25, 30, you know what I mean?
And in college,
Same thing. When they get older, that pool dwindles down because that guy who's in his 20s and 30s are now looking to date those same younger women.
Right.
And you know what I mean?
Right.
You can go on to date, but you will date older men, or if not younger men, who
Or
are
at
men
least
are
you're going to
successful.
date someone who makes less money than you, which if we're in the age of equality and, smashing the patriarchy, that I thought that should be okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that, to me, I don't understand why that is such a deal breaker for women
Right.
if we're supposed to be in this age of like equality.
Well, for those, I think because, as we became a more technologically advanced society, I think that part of it is women have better choices. They can make better choices now. They don't have to just accept whatever comes their way. And they've taken that to a whole nother level.
Especially with online dating.
Online dating.
Yeah.
It's a huge ego boost because more than likely men are going to respond to you more than You know what I mean?
Right.
You just come home and it's a huge ego booster.
You can just scroll through lists of nope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and having that power. What
Right.
do you think? What do you think is causing this disconnect from women and like this whole thing of women not being able to find men, and men having trouble finding women too that would date them? Because I've been seeing a lot of this lately. People having kids has gone down. Marriage is gone down.
Yeah, I think it's just like rebellion, like wanting to do things your own way. People wanted to, was content for the ruling people and rule, like even like as parents, like
Right.
just the contempt for parents, you know what I mean? Like with people growing up, you see it even in movies, like how people just don't respect their parents, they don't honor their parents. There's no honor,
Yeah.
There's no understanding of even what honor is.
Right.
So it's just a bunch of disrespect, which leads to foolishness and people just trying to do it their own way, to prove their own way. And then it just breeds a bunch of foolishness. And then you got to deal with that foolishness. You know what I mean? And I think that's what people are reaping, what they're sowing right now.
Right. And we're part of
No, I'm done.
we're part of a culture where it's the era of have it your way. Men think that we can have as much women as we want. We can leave a trail of tears on conquest.
Right.
And women think
You can
I
have
can
it all.
I can have it all, and I can have the
career,
diamond
my-
because the girl
yeah.
in Sex and the City did it.
You know what's funny
know?
is I just saw an article not too long ago about the creator of that show, how she like came out saying that she's like 60 something years old now. She's divorced. She's alone. She has no kids, and she's like regretting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
her lifestyle
whole
choices.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
But she pushed. Think about how many women she glorified that lifestyle choice
Right,
too.
right.
And I think that's also another huge issue is that women have been kind of programmed, and men in the same way,
And
like
men,
you're saying.
and men.
They've been programmed to believe that like that is a virtuous thing, or like a path to like a glorious path to go on.
Right.
Where you can live that city life where you're just sleeping around and just having conquests and having
Yeah,
stories with your girls.
That's the thing. That's city life. Like
Right.
if you look at the Friends,
Right.
when we were teenagers,
Yeah.
Friends was one of them.
Even Seinfeld, like they're all
Yeah,
single. They're
Seinfeld.
all just having
Yeah.
like like all of these shows.
Sex
Just,
in the City.
yeah,
But yeah, it just showed how like it's not about anything. It's literally about like just indulging.
It's living in the city and having options.
right.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
you look at Seinfeld, like it's about nothing.
It's about narcissism.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
That's what
it's about just
almost every single
feeding
episode is
your
about.
own selfish stuff.
4 extreme narcissists. Well, Kramer had a little bit more of a like giving mentality,
Yeah.
but definitely Jerry, Elaine,
Yeah.
and George were complete narcissists.
Yeah, I just saw one the other day where George was trying to prove to his boss that he liked black people. It was so funny. So he called up Jerry like, who's that plumber? I think it was a plumber or something. He was a nice guy. Yeah, he was a nice guy. And he was like, you got his number?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so he like found
Right.
this
But it's all
restaurant.
just-
But it's
like-
social engineering, though.
Right,
You know,
right.
it comes back to social engineering because it wasn't like that before. And when people don't realize that these writers, these producers, they do have a plan,
Right.
And they want to portray that. You just sent me the clip today that I watched about a movie called The Time Machine,
Yeah.
by H.G. Wells,
Right.
And there's one from the '60s and there's one from the 2000s, and they're the same.
They're both based off the same,
Same book, but two different concepts.
Totally different flip concepts.
Right. And it's
you
because
see
of
different
the
agendas.
50-year difference. What could they do?
Right.
And it's just, we have devalued marriage. We've devalued what a relationship
Family,
is. What
fatherhood, yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
And we're reaping the rewards of this thing that we've planted.
Go
You know what I
after
mean?
your own selfish desires.
Right.
And when you teach women that it's okay to, fill yourself with hormones so you can't get pregnant, so you can go out and have sex, teach men to just throw some piece of rubber plastic over your penis and you can have all the sex you want, and teach women to, having abortions is not a big deal, and like
Yeah.
you create this environment where like I can be selfish.
Yeah, and you're literally creating a different dimension that we live in. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right. It's
That,
like a
that
different
separates you from
universe
nature.
in a
Yeah.
sense, like parallel universe
Yeah.
type of vibe.
It's a manipulation of the world that you live in.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
The dude did a breakdown of Forrest Gump also, which was awesome
I'll
because
have
he
to
like
watch it, yeah.
he shows how like Forrest Gump was complete programming and like the whole when you break that movie down to what it was, it's just like nothing matters. Everyone's just like
Life
living-
is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah,
You know,
life is like
yeah.
a feather in the wind.
Yeah.
You know, like think about Forrest's life where it's like everyone kind of used him his whole life. Jenny was like shitty to him his whole life. He was in love with this girl and she just used him whenever it was convenient to her.
And we know men like that.
Right. And the only time she even like reached out to him was when she was about to die from AIDS and leave her son with him. That was
Yep.
his son to begin with. You
Right,
know what
right.
I mean? It's
Just
like
so happened to be.
after he was a billionaire. You know
Right,
what I mean?
Right,
It's like
right. It's a
what
fairy
kinda-
tale.
What kind? But what
I mean,
kind
think
of
about
life-
it, man. Women love the movie Pretty Woman.
Right.
They love it.
Yeah.
But if I tell any woman I'm dating, my best friend is a prostitute.
Right.
There's no explaining. There's no how much she.
There's no virtuousness
There's
there,
nothing
yeah.
about. I can never explain that why my best friend is a prostitute.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's that idea. We sell these fairy tales, and for men too. It's not just. I don't want to get on the women just because men too. We buy into this thing.
Right.
You know, and I feel like that's part of it too.
Yeah, men are constantly bombarded with just like the idea that they can have as much sex as they want and that women are objects and, you know, porn is everywhere.
And there's no consequence.
Yeah, yeah. I
You're
mean,
never fulfilled, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and you can how can you be?
And I'll tell you what, I think part of it for men is this, even when men get old and their bodies aren't responding anymore, it's in their mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's in their mind. They still got to do it.
They're still
You know?
who sent that clip of the old man? Was it P-Say that sent that?
It might have been
Old man
Stan
in,
or P-Say.
Yeah, see if you can send that to Rach. This is an old man in a nursing home and he's talking to the nurses like
The old man in the club.
he's like she's like trying to give him a bath and he's telling her telling her to give him a blowjob.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like, I'm not gonna do that. And he was like, why not? Like he's like
Yeah.
he was like, but I want one. You know, like
Yeah.
he's old. Like
Yeah.
you could tell like it just never leaves.
It never
some
leaves you,
people,
man.
Like,
Because you emptied everything out and poured that in.
Right.
And you're filled with that.
right.
You know?
And your whole life becomes about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think when you see like articles like this, these are the manifestations of
Right.
the environment we've
Well,
created.
I think part of the problem is with us too. We never want to admit that the things we consume is causing our death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
things we watch, the
literally, figuratively, and physically.
Right.
We never want to admit that the things I'm consuming is killing me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
Because we'll make
even-
excuses for it.
Even for women, not to cut you off, but even for women, the idea of feminism, consuming that idea too, like this, especially like this now fourth wave feminism that they're talking about, which is like, you know, just a little bit more aggressive. When you look at like fully buying into that,
Yeah.
can leave you in this place.
Right.
You know, that's why I wanted to bring up dude's joke.
Yeah.
So underneath that article, there's a clip of this dude who made a awesome joke about that kind of puts things in a little bit more perspective. Let's see if you can play that one, Rach. But yeah, it's like
But some of the women who feel like that, when they have a son and a woman does that to their son, they want to
right.
kill her.
Then they want to kill
I
her.
believe in
Right.
equality for men and women. I really stand for that, man. Like, I went on a date with this girl recently. She wanted me to pay, and I have a strict no-paying policy on the first day, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, ladies. I thought you were all INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means? It means you can pay for some shit, okay? That's a rap song, in case you know I spelled it out. Independent. Ask a black person. What have we got to do, all right? There you go. I'm saying, look, we don't know each other. Why don't we just split it, see what happens, right? If I had to be your boyfriend, I'll buy you stuff. I'm not against paying ever. I'm just saying on the first date, how about no pressure, right? This girl got a match. She's like, oh, my God, you're such a cheap guy. I think the guy should pay. I mean, I'm just old-fashioned. And I felt bad. I was like, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm old-fashioned, too. So how about you shut your fucking mouth? Hey, you're so fast. Why don't you put on an apron? I'll pay for the meal when you make it. How about that?
Shit.
How about stop voting? How about take a shit in the woods? I mean, how far back you want to go? Just remember the time stuff, huh? Oh, you're selectively traditional. I see. Okay. I've been single now for 10 years successfully. Thank you very much. I say successfully because it's hard to be single for that long, right? Girls try to use it against you. Oh, that's why you don't have a girlfriend. That's why you're saying, it's easy to have a girl. What do I just got to get yelled at and be wrong all the time? I can do that. Come on. It's easy to have a girlfriend, right? Here's the thing. I just don't in relationships, it's always a power struggle, right? Like in the beginning of the relationship, who's in control, the man or the woman? What do you guys think? Yeah, it's the woman. Dudes don't say anything. Oh, yeah, the woman. You know what? I think the dude's in control in the beginning. Girls are in charge of the sex. You regulate the flaps or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, you control that. But dudes are in control of the relationship. You know why? Because girls generally are pretty indecisive in the beginning, right? It's always like, what movie you want to see? I don't know. You pick. Do you want to stay in or go out tonight? I don't know. You decide. What do you want to do later? I don't know. You pick. I can't decide. Well, what the fuck? The problem is, 6 months later, they start using that shit against you. One night, she's going to be, you're so controlling. We always do what you want to do. I never get to say anything. Right? So what does the guy do? He's like, okay, I'm sorry. We'll do whatever you want, right? That's when girls take control. In the middle of the, once you've been together for like 6 months, the guy lets his guard down. That's where it's sneaky. Start taking little things, little by little, to build your case for later. I've been I followed this. I traced it all the way back to the car keys. Like one night you're going to go out and she's going to be like, give me your keys. And you're like, what? Because you're going to lose them. You're like, what the fuck? I never lost my keys my whole life, right? But you're a nice guy. You don't want to fight. You're like, yeah, here, hold my wallet, keys, cell phone. Let's just go see Bridesmaids, whatever. All right, fine. Then they start taking more things. Here, let me cook for you. Oh, here, let me clean for you. Oh, I'll do the laundry. Oh, I'll do the bills. Don't worry about that. 6 months later, they start using that shit against you. Hey, you wouldn't be anything without me, okay? Your clothes would be all dirty. Your bills may be paid. You don't even know where your keys are. And the dude's like, shit, I don't know where my keys are.
So that wasn't the clip I was talking about, but it was still funny. I was talking about the joke where it was like, maybe it wasn't him, but you said it to me before, but I don't even know who it was. But the comedian was making a point. He was like, women, you guys want you want a man who makes more money than you. You want a man who can protect you. He's stronger than you. Oh, it was him. So I was looking for that clip. Okay. He's stronger than you. He can protect you. So basically, you want someone who's better than you. You know what I mean? Right. But you don't want to admit it. You know what I mean? Right. Which is like, it's like, why is that so bad?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Society made it.
Right.
And men took advantage of certain things, so it left a. Yeah.
I think it's just this whole idea that like we have to be, everything needs to be equal. Right. Men and women are exactly the same. And there's no difference between the man. Anything a man can do, a woman can do. Right. And it's put us in this place where it's like, if we try to show the difference, then you're a misogynist or a sexist or something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so moving on. What else do we have to talk about here? Oh, so I wanted to get into. There's a news clip of. A 12-year-old girl recently from, I forget which state it was in, but this was all over the news. She's pretty much turned out to be Juicy Smollett in training.
Second coming.
Yeah. So you could just play the news clip if you want, if you found it on there.
Police in Northern Virginia are investigating after a 12-year-old African-American girl said 3 white classmates pinned her down and cut her dreadlocks.
A black 6th grader says that she was pinned down by white classmates who mocked her and cut her hair.
A 12-year-old Virginia girl says she is traumatized.
She was pinned down by white classmates who cut her hair.
Her white classmates pinned her down and cut her dreadlocks.
Her classmates called her hair ugly and nappy as they pinned her down and cut several of her dreadlocks.
Today, the girl and her family told us about what they're calling a racist attack.
The girl says she's been bullied by the same boys before.
It's very disturbing about these boys because it's heartbreaking and traumatizing for that little girl.
The wife of the vice president Mike Pence, she teaches there.
Karen Pence teaches art part-time at Emmanuel.
Second Lady Karen Pence teaches art part-time there.
Incidents like this, they're not isolated. They're happening way too often.
And you know what's really sad is that she didn't tell her family for a couple of days.
She didn't?
She didn't. They just noticed that her hair was shorter, and they asked her about it, and she broke down.
Because it was too upsetting.
That's where the first red flag comes in, right?
Understand that.
The school told
Totally
CNN
understand
those
that.
involved in the incident will be out of school while police.
So it turns out the reason why she didn't tell her parents right away is because she cut her own hair. So they noticed and were like, "What happened to your hair?"
Sort of like how Arya.
Yeah,
cut her.
yeah, exactly. Except Arya is 4 years old. But yeah, so she had cut her hair, and when they asked her about it, she comes up with this story that these 3 boys held her down. And like you could see some of the other news clips where she's crying, telling the story, and like talking about how they called
that's the
her
ones I saw.
ugly, and like
So how
they
did they
said her
find-
hair was nappy. The police investigated, and a 12-year-old, that story's gonna crumble so fast.
Yeah, you can't keep up with
You
that.
can't. They know how to poke holes in that stuff.
Who are the people?
Yeah, she did name 3 boys.
Oh, really?
Yes, and they
Wow.
they had to investigate them, and now their families are upset. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole thing.
Yeah,
And
so she accused people.
yeah,
Wow.
underneath of that, there's a clip of the Roland Martin show. You got to play this because this is just
Roland Martin.
This is just
He's my favorite.
yeah. This is just what people do when stories like this happen. They just go in before they know anything.
Right.
They go crazy.
They haven't learned.
Fan Club. Every dollar that you give to us supports
Look at
our
this
daily
guy.
digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin
Keep it black and
Unfiltered.
keep it real.
Going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Roland Martin pandering
You
to blacks
might
for
be
20 years.
10, 11, and 10 were arrested in an alleged hate crime for the school bus beating of a 10-year-old black girl. Police in Governor, New York, a small town not far from the Canadian border, arrested the 2 white girls Monday following a 2-week probe after the victim's parents filed a police report saying their daughter had been beaten in an assault that involved racially motivated language. The town of Governor is 95% white, 1% black. The story out of Springfield, Virginia is crazy. 3 6th-grade boys are accused of pinning down a fellow classmate, a 12-year-old girl, on the playground and cutting her locks because they are nappy and ugly. Amari Allen said she has never been more traumatized in her life until Monday when she said a group of white male classmates attacked her on the playground at Emmanuel Christian School, a private K-12 school in Fairfax School, Virginia, where, of course, the wife of Vice President Mike Pence teaches. She says that one boy covered her mouth and the second boy put her hands behind her back, while the third boy pulled out scissors and cut her medium-length locks while calling her names. Doc, they should be expelled?
They should be arrested. And if I'm her parents, it would have taken everything out of me to not put hands and feet on those children. Because what that says to them, like, I'm thinking about the trauma and the terror to be held down, have your mouth covered, and then somebody to pull out a sharp object. They could have stabbed her in her eye, her ear. They could have cut her face. They could have killed that girl. And we can call this harmless pranks. We can call it bullying. But that was assault. And that was a textbook assault. And I don't care how old these boys are. If they're doing this at 11,
I mean,
I
if
hate
it
to see what they
happened,
do
yeah.
at 15, 16, 17, and 18. Because this kind of stuff, I almost spit nails.
Is there another video where they're talking about when it's fake?
No, that's the thing. There's no videos of people talking about it's
Never.
fake. They do like they'll do little clips, little articles that they wrote, saying that it turned out to be false. But I wanted to tell you this.
The interesting thing,
because this is what I wanted to show about this story that was interesting, and the wizardry, exposing the wizardry of the media. So I'm gonna put this up because. Of course, the New York Times, everybody does articles on this stuff. And it's always like when they get the headline talking about it is, black 12-year-old girl, 3 white boys, cut her hair, called her ugly and racist attack. But then when they need to say that, and the picture is of the girl crying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thumbnail is the girl crying. But then when this turns out to be false, it's, they don't mention the girl's race. They don't mention the boy's race.
Right.
They don't even show any pictures. They just show a picture of the school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
it's a totally different thing. And the headline is like, turns out to be false.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
But
like
the damage-
After they investigated, she pretty much come clean.
she
damage
came
is
clean.
done.
She said she made it up.
Okay.
Yeah, she said she made it up because she didn't want to get in trouble.
That's the thing with the fake news thing. Like, it doesn't matter when they retract it. It's already out there.
Right.
And people already feel a certain way.
And the journalists are sort of playing up this kind of stuff, which is kind of like,
Yeah, girl recants. Was that the New York Times article? So they just say girl recants that girl recants. What was it? Girl recants story that boys cut her hair. That's that classmates cut her hair, not even boys.
right.
And then this is the headline of when it happened: Black girl who accused her white classmates of cutting her dreadlock. Oh no, that's something different. What's that from?
New York Daily News.
Oh, that's Daily News. Okay, so New York Times, when they did the story of the article, when the headline came out, let me see. I remember her name's Amari.
Yeah, that's a narrative, though. It's racist. There was another article I was reading about the cop who you heard about the cop who shot, who she went home, she went into the wrong apartment.
Yeah, I remember that story.
Mm-hmm.
Shot dude.
Yeah, they found her guilty, but I was reading about it at the was this CBS News? Jury found former Dallas police officer guilty of murder Tuesday, 2018, when the shooting happened. Guyger, who is white, was returning home, from a 13-and-a-half-hour. Like, why do you have to say that she was white? And then further down in the article, when they were talking about it says it right here, yeah. Guyger, who was white, after returning from a 13-half-hour shift, was off duty but still in uniform when she shot a black St. Lucia native who worked as an accountant.
Right.
So they're pushing that.
They always do that
race thing.
That's what people don't. People don't pay attention to those little cues in news stories, and those are the things that are used to push you into an idea.
Right.
It's always subtle like that. It's when a story purposely says, because if it was the other way around, they would just say man kills woman.
Right.
They wouldn't point out that it was a black dude and a white woman. You know what I mean? They wouldn't do that because they don't want that to be the narrative. Fox News would do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they want a different narrative. It's all about the agendas. So New York Times, CNN, MSNBC,
Post, yeah.
they're going to point it out because they want you to know that white people are out here killing niggas and y'all should be afraid for your life. You know what I mean?
Vote Democrat.
Yeah, vote Democrat because white people are out here killing niggas. Because people they really believe that like cops are just killing black people willy nilly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We out here dying.
Yeah, we out here. It's like the Greta Thunberg thing. Thunberg, however you say her name.
Thunberg?
She's, people are dying,
Right.
Mass extinction. It's like she's been wept up into that frenzy of what the chaos is of, whatever they're
It's
telling
going a
her.
little crazy, but in this case, though, this is murder.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It
In
was
this
murder.
case,
It was murder, but
But it has nothing to do
but
with
what
black
he's saying,
and white.
like the fact that they pointed out the
Oh, of course,
races
that's what the
is
news
to-
is going to
yeah.
do.
But they only do it one way. Is the point we're making?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They only do it one way. But no, it absolutely was murder. Like she was crazy for that. And I don't know, like what was she drunk or something? Like what was?
They
How
try
you-
to say that she was tired. She went into the wrong apartment, and dude was watching TV eating ice cream, and she pulled out her gun. And
Yeah, I know the story, but I'm saying like you don't ask any questions.
You're on the wrong floor.
You don't
Apartments
know
don't
that.
smell the same.
Yeah, like,
she didn't notice the couch.
Yeah,
you know,
like the
anything.
furniture is different.
Yeah,
like,
it's just a weird story.
Maybe it was dark in there, so she didn't really get a good look. But at the same time, it's like you just shoot that quick. Like you don't ask
Right.
any questions. You don't say, "What are you doing?" You have the gun.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know.
And I think the other part of it too is America does have a history of someone like that could get off and be like, she made a mistake. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that there's that too.
Yeah.
There's a long history of that. You know, where some cops. What was the? Well, he didn't get off, but the one that shot the guy that was running away. Certain things like that. So people are like on edge about these things. So you know the news is going to highlight anything.
But
that
I
they
think
can
people
find.
are more on edge because they let the news hype them up.
Oh
Because,
yeah,
like,
of course.
This
Yeah.
concept that like people just get off and you know white supremacy and it's just it's more hyped up to put people in fear and to capitalize off people's fear.
Right.
Yeah, there was just another guy who I don't know. I don't think we talked about that, but he was part of this Baptist church, and he like destroyed. He vandalized the church and then put KKK and put Trump something about vote. I think it was like vote Trump or something.
Yeah.
On the he spray painted on the side of the church.
I did hear about that. Yeah.
And then it turned out he got caught.
Yeah.
You know, black guy.
That was like the ex NFL player.
Yeah, same thing.
Same type of.
And
deal.
then another, I think it was an Arab guy. No, I think it was from Pakistan, but he got caught like he was spray painting swastikas all over,
Mhm.
and he was trying to and saying like Trump stuff. Like so, they're feeding into this thing.
I mean,
you know?
if Juicy Smollett situation don't make you second, like hold up, let me hold off on that.
Right.
Well, there's always a climate that creates that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Where people want to write, they want to create a story and they want to run with a narrative. You know what I mean? These kind of things happen, and I feel whatever the political climate is, whatever the social climate is, that gets amplified by the news, and then people take that and then they want to come up with their own stories.
Right.
They write a script and they're like, this is gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because in the early '90s, it was black guys kidnapping, abducting white kids and
Right.
white mothers. You know what I mean? White
Right.
mothers was driving their kids into lakes and
Right.
you know, but the narrative was OJ.
Right.
So it was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's the cops. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, you know what I mean? So it's
Well,
like,
it was Rodney King too.
yeah, but I
in
mean,
that
it's like
time.
that. Those narratives seem to come along every decade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's a constant thing, but I think it's just now, especially because of social media.
Right.
Like,
Well, with this lady, they try to move the case from the town it happened in to another town.
yeah, I heard about.
So there was
that.
a lot of little things
There
that
was
happened.
some like tomfoolery going on,
Right.
But you got to look at it like, I mean, the police. Look, what is the difference between people that say we don't snitch? How can you live by that ideology and then be mad when the police don't want to snitch on each other?
Yeah.
It's the same mentality.
Oh, no, I agree.
It's the same groupthink.
Right.
It's a brotherhood.
But they say that, but they really don't mean that though.
Who don't mean it?
The people in the city, they say that stuff. They because as soon as the police come, they're like, I'm telling.
Yeah, right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right. But what I'm saying is,
if it's gonna affect them,
right? If they,
Yeah.
but if they're looking for a witness, or if they're looking for information,
They're
they
not
won't. They
telling.
won't.
Yeah.
tell.
And plus, the other thing is we're not.
They're not
educated-
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah. We don't understand how this stuff works. There's unions involved.
Right.
We don't understand the social implication. We don't understand how things really work for behind the scenes. Politics. We don't understand that. We just think it's deeper than that.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Look, we talked about the mayor that got caught in the not the mayor, the governor got caught in the KKK outfit.
Yeah.
He's a Democrat. There was a little backlash for it, but then
Well,
He's a liberal.
did they ever find out if he was in the KKK outfit or the blackface?
he lied about both. He said it was neither
Well,
him.
yeah, right.
But it was basically the proof was like he finally admitted
But he admitted which one was him.
both.
Wait. No, because there was two people in one picture. One of them. had
I'm sorry.
one of them-
And he was in the KK outfit.
Okay,
sorry.
okay. That's what I was wondering because everyone was saying either way. it's
Right.
bad. Like, Like you can't get out of this one skate.
Right.
Like, that one's not me. I'm that
Right,
one. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's the West Virginia
Yeah.
governor.
Yeah. The
And
governor.
and that's the thing. I know I've said to
Virginia,
my
not
friends,
West
I'm like,
Virginia.
look, you can't want to kill everybody who's a white supremacist, and then when you find out that somebody who you thought wasn't is,
Right.
then you're like, well, he gets a pass because he's cool.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Is that you gonna? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't here last week when we talked about the whole Trudeau thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And to me, it's the that's what it is. It's the hypocrisy of it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the hilarity of it to me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you got this guy who's like held up as the pinnacle of social justice
Yep.
politician. Like this
I'm
is
sorry, it's not mankind. It's humankind.
It's humankind. Yeah.
Ding.
But wait, but when he said that, I'm like, but man is inhuman also. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
it's-
how deep are we gonna go with this?
Yeah. And I think part of it too is also the onus is on the cops too.
Yeah.
When bad cops do other things, if we don't speak up,
Right.
we look. So it's a we're living in two different worlds.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
we're doing the same
We're
thing.
doing the same thing,
Yeah.
but then expecting the other one not to do the same thing.
Right.
It's like you're protecting your community and they're protecting theirs.
Right.
It
You know
all
what I mean?
it all boils down to selfishness.
Right.
It all boils down to your own desire. There's no accountability.
Right.
You know, there's no respect. There's no honor. Going back to that,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
that's the thing that needs to be restored back
Right.
into this country.
If a right was if they really followed the law and she was prosecuted, you know, from the eternal part of it, then we would have to worry about going to drag through the court of public opinion and the white woman kills up. We would have to, because if you were doing the right thing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, I think that's part of it. That's the
But
part.
she was convicted. Still.
Yeah, she was.
You know
Yeah,
what I
she
mean?
was.
She was convicted. It's not like she got off. It's people.
But there has been a time when
Yes,
So,
of course.
I mean, then
Yeah.
all the Rodney King officers got off.
Yeah.
That's what caused
And
the
they're like,
riots. Yeah, that's what caused the riots.
I'm gone.
You know,
And that's probably what they were thinking too. The police union probably was like,
right?
I guarantee you, if I was a police officer in that city, I would have been at that union like, you're going to convict her what? Because I'm not going out there
Right,
tonight.
Right. You ain't gonna put my life on the line.
And
right.
you know what I mean?
Because this chick is crazy. Can't tell what
Right.
apartment.
Because then they were trying to prove that she liked minorities because she was texting the Puerto Rican, the Latino sergeant.
Yeah.
She was involved
Sexting.
in she was sexting him.
Yeah.
See, she can't be racist.
She likes Latino penises. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
And they're part black.
Fat Joe
So
said
it's-
it.
Yeah.
Fat Joe says
And they
they're
can say
black.
the word nigga.
Yeah.
We live in a messed up society, man. And
Yeah.
we're reaping the rewards of our forefathers. We're reaping the rewards of, dude, exactly what you sent me in that movie today.
Yeah.
We wanted to create a utopia.
Right.
And then when we created the utopia, it doesn't work out the way
doesn't
we
work.
thought.
Oh, that reminds me. Sorry to cut y'all off. What was that documentary? So I don't forget. So I can write it down.
Oh, it's called Black in Latin America. Black in
It's
Latin
by Henry
America.
Louis Gates.
Henry Louis Gates. He did it was like a 5-part series, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I love that series. That's a great series, man. That's why to me, I'm always like upset about the way we see things because that was a great series. He did Black in America. He did Black in Latin America. No one watched it.
That's what I was gonna say.
But Housewives
Right.
and Empire
Right.
and Power gets like
Yeah.
tons of ratings.
I watched that.
You watched it?
Yeah, that was the thing where he went to like Brazil and then he did all different. Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of
It
people
was on
don't.
CNN.
No, it was on
It was
PBS.
on PBS.
PBS.
It was a
okay.
great series.
Yeah.
It was a great series.
PBS.
Yeah.
It was
But yeah,
awesome.
like you said, no one watches that, but then, you know, Power's ratings are through the roof. you
Right.
know.
And then you're asking these questions, and it's like, well, because there's other avenues that we can go to find out why things are happening the way it is, what's socially engineered, why things are playing out. It's like planned obsolescence, and we don't realize what's happening. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like there's answers if we just maybe stop what we're doing and look to other things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
I think one of the biggest answers and one of the biggest ways to combat all of this is just to start with your family. Start with the values you instill into your kids, your home, and grow it out from there.
Yeah.
Your community.
Establish an order of
Right.
how things are supposed to be done.
Right.
And set a template from the whoever is the leader. That person has to be the one to know what I mean. or the eldest or whatever it is.
It used to be that way.
It used to. And I was saying this to my friend Dylan. I said part of the problem, especially with men, is I feel like we in this society, call it irrelevant, we don't have something where we usher teenagers, boys and girls, from one stage to the next.
Right.
And I've talked to you about this before, where we're ushering them into manhood and womanhood, where they're able to leave those things behind and prepare themselves for, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you have 20-something, 30-some-year-olds that are still trying to figure this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting swayed by political ideologies, whatever is being baited by the news,
Right.
Twitter, all these stuff. We don't have that.
Hip hop, whatever.
To say to a young man, all right, you're leaving this stage of life to this stage of life, and this is what you have to do. And for a young woman, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, we talked about that too, about how like, you know, the age of marrying in other cultures can be a lot younger sometimes, because the way these women are brought up, the way men are brought up, is they are taught from the time they're at an early age that at this point you're going to be a man and you're going to be responsible for these things. As it happens a lot in like the Hasidic Jew culture, where it's like they are being groomed to be a husband and a wife from an early age, and understand what that means and how to take care of a family and how to, you know, people nowadays are like, you're 19, 20 years old, but you're still a kid.
Right. Yeah. And it's our fault for looking at that as being antiquated.
Right.
There's a lot of distractions, a lot of fun things to do.
Yeah.
You know,
and you got to go to college and you got to experience that, and you got to get those experiences in college.
I've heard people say that. I would love them to have the college experience.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. We all know what that means.
Frat parties,
some lesbian parties, some frat parties, drinking,
experimental parties.
Yeah.
I come up with a lot of debt.
That's where a lot of girls get their first lesbian experience in college. Fact.
But I don't know. I think that's part of our fault too as a society, because we accept certain things.
Definitely. It's men's fault, I believe.
There you go, blaming the men.
It's men's fault, man.
No, you're right.
Because men
we don't set a tone.
Don't take up their role.
And we don't live up to the standard.
Right.
We don't live up to a standard to say, you know.
Yep.
I think it's the church's fault.
Mon, whose fault do you think it is?
Rachel, whose fault is it, Rachel? Rachel's like, I have no opinion. I stopped listening to you guys about an hour ago. Well, eventually we'll find out whose fault it is. And but I think until then, only thing you can do is, you know, establish your relationship with God. Mm-hmm. Then establish your relationship as a husband. Then establish your relationship as a father, and then as a community from there.
Well, how about
as a family? As a woman, women need to establish their relationship with God, and then establish their relationship as a wife, and then as a mother, and then as a community.
Same thing.
You know what I mean? Same thing.
Yeah.
And I think if you start there, then everything else kind of will fall into place.
Yeah, and realize that I feel like we have this idea that there was once this utopia in life. Every decade, every generation has its ailments.
Mm-hmm.
Sophia's generation is going to have issues.
Right.
There's no utopia. We live in a fallen world.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not going to vote your way out of the conflicts we're in.
Yeah.
You're not going to wish your way out of this stuff. And I think that's part of the problem, is that we have these ideas that we're going to vote ourselves into some utopia.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't exist.
You mean the Green New Deal's not going to save us all?
But that's part of the problem. Yeah. We have this wish list of things that we want.
Right.
You know? And we have literally created a generation of people who they literally think that's what it works.
They do. They think that eventually we can get there if we just all... If we can yell at enough people to...
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I have a situation right now where I'm looking for guys to hire,
mm-hmm.
or anyone, guys, girls, whoever wants to work. Mon is my best worker.
He keeps on trying. He keeps on trying to recruit me.
He's like, this FedEx stuff is too easy, bro. So yeah, anybody out there looking for work, hit up James.
But what I was trying to say is, I will listen to these guys, right? And they'll tell me the sob stories. And I say, look, I have work right now. They'll tell me I'm coming.
Right.
The next day, it's usually happen right around 9. That's like that's the hour, that's the time when they're like, dang it, I gotta. And they come up with the stories. My car broke down. This had
It's
to
always
happen.
something, right?
Something happened. They never call me. It's a text.
A text, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm thinking to myself, you know, I don't know who you think you're fooling.
How old are these people?
They're in their 30s.
Wow.
20s and 30s. These are men.
Yeah.
You know? And those kind of things happen, man.
See, I never gave James excuses. I get the work done in like 2 hours, and he has to slow me down. Moan, I priced the job out in 3 days.
Hey, don't give away the trade secrets, bro. You're giving away the secrets.
Right.
I kid.
Moan just wants to get out of there. Wants to just go to the gym.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, it's laziness. People rather do something.
Yeah, they are
else.
lazy, man.
Yeah,
people are lazy.
That's because people have been totally detached from doing real work, from real life stuff. You know, people don't grow up in the
Chopping
fields,
wood,
chopping wood,
farming,
taking care of animals. You know, helping out with the kids. People don't grow up that way.
Or how about just like meaning what you say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Being a man of your word, man.
Right.
I think that's lost. You know what I mean?
Honor. Yeah,
that's
respect.
lost.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I, you know what I mean? Like I want to. Like I was saying this to. Who was I saying this to, man? Somebody asked me about marriage and my wife. Somebody was talking about that, and I said, Shaniqua gave me a chance, right? Like I'm at home living in a basement,
Right.
right,
Right.
You know, for the minute someone hear that, they're like, hell no.
Right.
They don't know that I.
It's the news article, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
They don't know that I I moved out of the apartment that I was living in.
Right.
Because I switched careers. I can't afford an apartment, my car, a BMW that I made a bad choice to make. That I'm restructuring my life at 28 years old.
Right.
That I had to make certain decisions because it's hard to sit down with somebody. Okay, so I'm not a loser. Okay.
Right.
So I sold my car. I sold
Right.
my house. And I had to move home so I can buy tools so I can start because I went to the bank.
Yeah.
And you can't give them. So
Right.
from the minute you say I'm living at home, you're at home. You're you know what I mean?
You're a loser. Yeah.
Right. So I felt like during that dating process, like saying that to a woman whose career, she has her own place.
She had to trust you.
She had to trust me.
Mhm.
So she did, and she never judged me. So I'm like, I have to do the right thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I have to. Like, where is that thing that, you know what I mean? Where I felt like I have to, she made the right choice.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I got to show her that you made a good choice, and I'm going to honor that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
yeah, but that also comes from your upbringing and you being taught, you know, and you having an example of a successful
That's true.
marriage. You know, a
That's
lot of
true.
people don't even have that foundation to begin with.
But I feel it. Don't you feel like it's in you? Don't you feel like, even though you may not see it, you know when something is bad? You know what I mean? Like in terms of relationships and not just male and female.
Some people don't.
Everyone does. Man.
Yeah.
Really?
I think some people have been so like beaten down, so like traumatized that they don't know the difference.
Right.
To them, it's just like
that. Or I think sometimes people think that they can. People love projects, so we think we can change someone. Men and women, especially women. Women do this a lot.
Right.
I can change him.
Right.
And because you know why? They love the story. I can tell a story like when I met him, he was nobody, and now look at him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the same thing, men do the same thing to a certain level, but honoring what is right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I felt like that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I got to do the right thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think for a lot of guys, they don't even have that perspective going into it. They're just like trying to find someone that they think their friends will be impressed with. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
And a lot of times women do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know?
We both do to each other.
Right.
We both do to each other. You know. But I think like, you know, like remember you told me about a former friend of yours that during the course of the relationship you accepted everything until that one night the police questioned you.
Right.
And you were like, that was it.
Yeah, that was like the final straw. But I think like it was already
You had to know.
there was already like
Right.
stuff that was happening that was like, yo, what is going on? You know what I mean? But it's like you kind of just, all right, that's just him. You know what I mean? And you just go.
And when
with
you're
it.
younger, I feel like we accept certain things. We're like, that's my boy.
Yeah,
I'm not like that.
I'm not like that. If I'm not doing it, you know, he's crazy. But you know, you don't think it's gonna bleed into your life,
Right.
You know,
Right.
yeah,
And that's what I'm saying. Like, now that I know that, how can I not tell Sophia that?
right,
Or at least, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like, that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
right. But that's why I was saying like it's important for you to establish that in your home and your family, the
Right.
things that we've learned, the things that we know about being
Right.
a man, and being an example of a man is gonna be so much help for them anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Because
then-
men do that.
Yeah.
Men will tell their daughters, stay away from guys, but, watch out for, and they cheat on their mom.
Right. And they're really not any example of a man. Like
You're just saying-
you're just around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're not showing them what a husband is supposed to be or
Right.
what a father is supposed to be. You're just
Right.
there. You know. So I think that's.
So you think
important.
like men need example from other men? Because
I think so. I think men need to be woken up in a lot of ways. You need to tell them like, what are you doing? You know.
Yeah. They also need. I mean, I think they need to seek God too.
God,
'cause that's, you're not going to know how to be a man unless you don't seek the one who created you.
Right. But first, before you can even get there, sometimes you just need to be woken up from the whatever you're brainwashed by. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Well, I mean, isn't he the one that does it anyway?
Yeah, but it could spark from hearing something that you never thought of a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which still is truth.
Right.
It comes from him. That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is, someone's not gonna always know. Oh, this is God. You know what I mean?
No, but yeah, I get
You know
it.
what
But
I
I'm
mean?
saying it's still him.
No, of
You know?
course. All truth is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
But sometimes just hearing it from someone that's in a conversation, is gonna spark that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just having a conversation with somebody
Right.
and
It can be God.
But that's why
They don't
I
know.
mean that's kind of why we do this. You know what I mean? Because someone that's listening that could hear the way we're breaking something down or talking about something a certain way could make them see it in a way they never saw it, or make them realize like, damn man, maybe I do need to stop doing what I'm doing, or maybe I am chasing things the wrong way, or maybe I'm looking at it from us, or I don't realize that I'm just doing that out of brainwashing, or I'm doing that out of just cultural things that I've just done for I don't even understand why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes in that, man, sometimes the loneliness and the separation of friends is actually the best thing
Right.
that could happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes those things that you're holding on to is what's tying you to that tree.
Yeah.
If you just embrace it,
Yeah.
I feel like for me, after the whole situation went down with Franco and, the work situation, I got fired from a job.
Right.
Right. And I'd never been fired before. And I took so much pride in being a good employee, and I got fired. And I couldn't do anything about it. And I knew it was BS. But out of that came, I need to start my own business.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So for that, I didn't smoke weed. I didn't take no pills. And I
Right.
realized, I felt like I got to will myself. And
Mhm.
trust me, there was some depression. But I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I got to will myself.
Mhm.
And this was hard, switching careers at that age.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't realize that sometimes if you really just slow down and let God speak to your heart, He'll give you the answer. It's right there, but you got to give up so much.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Those things that you want to love, but they're really nothing.
It's
but
really
to you,
nothing.
it's something.
Right.
But
then once you let go of them, you realize how meaningless they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that thing is tethering you to that
Right.
to that pain. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, man. On that note, I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Wrap it up. What's up, Ariana?
Hey, Ariana, what's up? I see John was on there earlier. He said he had 5 minutes.
5 minutes too.
He only had 5 minutes to watch.
Oh.
All right, guys. Well, we touched on a lot of things. hit us up in the comments or anything if you have anything to say, anything to add in. Do you use the N-word? Do you think Fat Joe has the right to say it? How do you feel about Kanye West starting his church? Doesn't he do a church thing? Church service? Sunday service? Yeah. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about Kanye West going gospel? And, the dating thing, chime in on all that stuff. And also, don't forget to go to our Patreon, patreon.com/YoungLionTV, and become a member. And, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys next week. We out of here.
Take care.
Young Lion, go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah. This kingdom has room, yeah. Go and fight people in, woo.